hopefully everybody can see my screen here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Again, we wanted to thank everybody for joining us today for our presentation on turf analysis and how you can use the turf analysis to reach your full market potential. And we're really proud to be able to showcase this, as we have this available on our Question Pro and our Survey Analytics platform. And so let's go ahead and begin. Just a little bit about us here. Survey Analytics, we started back in 2002. We are number 172 out of 500 fastest growing private companies in the US. And we're also number 12 on Puget Sound Journal's Top 100 in Washington. And we have well over 6,000 clients, and we are growing. And besides Survey Analytics, we also have the Question Pro platform, IdeaScale, which is a crowdsourcing tool, MicroPoll, other tools that came out recently as well includes MicroPanel, Survey Swipe, and Survey Pocket. My name is Esther Lavielle. I'm the Chief Education Director over at Survey Analytics. To the right, you'll see this is just a small snapshot of some of our clients that we work with. So I'm sure you're familiar with some of them, including Career Builder, Safeway, Microsoft, Zynga, and such. And today our speaker is Andrew Jevons, and he is the Executive Vice President over at Survey Analytics. And he comes to us with over 20 years in the market research industry. He's also a frequent writer and speaker for various publications such as Quirks, and also does many conferences around the country. So if you are planning to attend several of the conferences, I know he's going to be at them, so definitely check him out. He also comes with a big background with a psychology and statistics background, and he's really just joined us actually very, very recently, and is focusing in on a lot of the innovation within survey research. So we're very happy to have him on board as our Vice President. So here's our agenda today. We're going to discuss, what exactly is turf analysis and when do you want to use turf analysis. And we have an example. We're calling it the ice cream example. So you can show how the count number of consumers who are used each of the items that you're presenting, and decide how you want to reach these people. And then we also will do just a brief summary of a conclusion of the turf, and we'll also show you an example of how to set up a turf analysis project within Survey Analytics and Question Pro. If you have accounts with us, you can use this tool right away. And then we'll open it up for any questions that you might have at the end, and end with the conclusion. So let me go ahead and pass this over to Andrew at this time. So thank you very much.
Hi everybody. Esther, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll do as I don't want control, we'll do the slide handover when I ask. Thanks everybody for joining us. So today we're going to talk about turf analysis. And TURF is one of those acronyms, and it stands for Total Unduplicated Reach and Frequency. Now, both reach and frequency, the terms reach and frequency, are derived from the media market and the media research. And this goes back, many, many years to when people were looking at the number of people that they reached with a particular radio program or a publication or a TV program. And the frequency part means how often you are in contact with the people you reach, hence the term reach and frequency. And if you ever come across or ever work in the ad business or anything like that, reach and frequency is a very common term that you find, very common analysis. So this is actually a technique that's been around quite a while. Now, turf analysis is working out how to maximize the sales of your product by maximizing the number of people you appeal to with a product or service combination. Because very often with products, you're not just selling one thing. I mean, the example we're going to use is flavors of ice cream. It's a simple example, but of course it's something where, as we all know, there are many different ice creams with many, many different flavors. And it gives a good example of how we can use turf analysis to optimize the product. Next slide, please. Next. Next.
Sorry, Andrew, hold on a second. I'm trying to hit next and it's not going. Just 1 second here. Oops.
There we go.
Okay.
So like I said, when you are thinking about what combination of products or services would sell best, determining marketing and placement campaigns, and in particular, when of course you have a limited budget, and the implication of having a budget is that it's actually limited. I mean, it would be nice if we all had infinite budgets. I don't. I'm certain that all of you people don't. What's the best way to spend your marketing dollars? Then it's time to run a turf analysis. It's also a type of analysis that will help you when you're thinking about introducing an alternative product or service. And then you can run a survey and analysis to see how that's going to influence the way the marketplace operates. Next slide, please. So let's jump into our example here. There are 3 possible ice cream flavors are available. And using top 2 box measuring intent to purchase, and I'm sure everybody's heard of this. This is where you give usually a 5-point sale saying, will purchase, probably will purchase. And the most common thing to do is to take the top 2 boxes. That is the people who said that they definitely will purchase and the people who said that they will probably purchase. We get the following results. Flavor A, we get 50% of people were in the top 2 box. Flavor B, 45%. Flavor C, 25%. Now, people could make multiple choices. That is, they didn't pick flavor A or B or C. So if you look at those percentages there, with flavor A at 50, flavor B at 45, flavor C at 25, the obvious result is to make flavor A and B, because those 2 would seem to account for the greatest market share. But that's misleading. Turf reveals us a different result. So if you have the next slide, please. I think the thing we might like most about this slide is the picture of the dog. Anyway, flavor A was chosen by 50% of people. Flavor B was chosen by 45% of people. 30% of those people also chose A. 15% chose flavor B exclusively. Flavor C was chosen by 25%. 5% also chose A. 15% also chose B. And 5% chose flavor C exclusively. Now, one of the things that is immediately obvious is that the choice structure is complicated. When you have 3, 4, 5 alternative products and you ask people what they would choose, you get some very complicated patterns. It's not simple because consumers are diverse. And this is one of the things that turf is good at analyzing and good at working out. If you take just the straight percentages and you don't look at the patterns of purchase that people show, or the patterns of intensive purchase that people show in the questionnaire, you can be misled. And so if you do a pairwise analysis, that is looking at saying that you want to restrict it to 2 products. That's the next slide, please. So what we can work out here is you've got 65% would definitely probably buy A or B. 50% of people would buy A and 50% would choose B exclusively. The important result we get from this analysis is 70% would definitely or probably buy A or C. So what that's showing to us is that if we were to present the products A and C, we would get 70% or 70% reach within the marketplace. And that's a very different result than we've shown with the simple straight percentages. The combination of the choices are the key here. Next slide, please. So turf allows you to see the effect of the combinations of the answers, that is the combination of choices that people make. And again, making decisions based on the simple percentage choices can be wrong, it can be very misleading. Turf analysis allows you to take into account the complex combinations of choices that people make. Again, we stress that it is these patterns of choices that are really important when you come to deciding your product mix. Next slide, please. Now, the TURF algorithm reviews all the possible combinations, and that can be very large. You can imagine when you maybe have 10 different flavors of ice cream. The product choice structure can be very complicated. And while you may be able to work out a relatively simple choice structure with 3, by the time you get to 10, you really need some sort of analysis. You need some sort of statistical analysis on that. On the other hand, you have to be careful not to have too many products or services. Offering 40 different flavors or 40 different types of products is probably not efficient, and it's probably not an efficient way to run a survey as well, to try and work out what people would choose. People get too confused about the possible choices. Turf analysis will bring out combinations and situations you probably haven't considered. And turf analysis can be useful in evaluating the effect of dropping or adding an alternate product or service. You may have a product lineup already, and you may want to find out what happens if you drop a particular product. It may be that that increases your reach. Turf analysis is something that will help you decide that. Okay, Esther, over to you.
Okay, sounds great. So thank you for that. Another thing we're going to do here is kind of show you an example of turf analysis in its very basic form, and if we have a little bit more time, we'll go and show you exactly what this looks like in our survey tool. So here's an example. A bank is looking to offer credit cards to their customers, and they want to find out which credit card brands to offer. And they're doing this based off of the current credit cards that their customers currently have. So I've just picked 4 of the major ones here. So Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. And what we've done is we just set up a very simple multiple choice question. The question that you can run, or question types that you can run turf analysis on in general in our tool, is a multiple choice question type or matrix table question type. So here's an example. Please select the credit cards that you currently use, and then you can choose more than one. And this is just a snapshot of the real-time summary result. You can see here that the MasterCard is used most out of all of them, and then followed by the Amex, and then followed after that is the Visa. So usually if you don't go on beyond the turf analysis and you just look at this, you would say, well, it looks like we should offer an Amex and a MasterCard to our clients. If we only need to choose 2, and if we want to choose 3, then we offer the top 3. But going into a turf analysis, you can actually see that there are some other combinations that you can possibly do and decide depending on what your budget is. So here's an example of running a turf analysis. This is a quick snapshot from our tool. All you'd have to do is go to the reports section and click on the online tools, so you can see the turf analysis, and you'll notice that I have a bunch of different questions inside here that you can run a turf analysis on. So anything or any kind of questions that you are wondering whether or not turf analysis can be ran, you can just quickly see what they are, and then you can see the question type. And all you have to do to get started is click on Run Analysis. So the first thing, once you click on turf analysis with the question that you have, you go through these 5 different tabs here. The first one is the top-down reach, and basically the top-down reach will calculate the reach or market share for either the entire data set, or you can also set the segmented data. So inside here with the data set, you can again decide whether or not you want to look at the entire group, or if you just want to look at a specific segment. So if you just want to look at how men would, what is the market share or the reach between men or women, or men versus women, you can set that up there. This will allow you to review the count and the percentage of the credit cards that people currently have. So let's go ahead and show you an example of what you'll see. Once you calculate the reach, you'll get a graph. So here's the cumulative reach above. And once again, you can see that, MasterCard and then Amex and then Visa, and then it's followed by Discover and other, is kind of kind of shows you again, very similar to what the rating scale or what we just saw earlier. And then you can see below that we give you the start reach, which is everyone who started the survey, what their answers are. The completed reach is for those who completed the entire survey. And the respondent reach itself is the reach where, regardless of whether they started or completed it, as long as they've answered this particular question in full, that is the respondent reach. So we added you can see here that we have a count for each one, and then also we have a number below. You can also choose to go in and add a weighted count. And so if you want to add, +1, -1, 0, and then have that completely changed, you are more than welcome to do that to, even out the possibilities that you have. The second part that you can do here is you can also run an analysis, and this is probably what most people will use when they run a turf analysis. Is they can choose to pick one or more options to calculate the unduplicated reach. And so in our example here, all we did was say, based off of the entire data set, we just want to know what is the reach for Visa and MasterCard. So if they only selected these two options, what is going to be your market share? So you can see that this is the results that you get based on just two options. So if you have Visa and MasterCard as the only two choices of credit card brands, you can estimate that you'll get about a 54% reach. So about 231 out of the 428 people who took the survey will have both cards or will want to get these cards from you. And here's another option if you want to pick three. So we're looking at Visa, MasterCard, and Amex. And you can see that your market share will increase greatly. So obviously the more credit cards that you offer, the more different brands that you offer, the more market share you'll have. And then you can justify that. But then the next thing you'd want to do is run a simulator. The simulator tool here will show you or allows you to review all the possible options under a specific simulator count. So if you just want to see, well, I did already look and see what you're going to get in terms of Visa and MasterCard, but I just want to look at all of it. So if you want to just look at all of it instead of having to calculate it, we can do that for you. So we're just picking, with two choices. You want to click on Simulate Choices. And what we'll do here is we'll generate a configuration of the unduplicated market share reach. And again, you can see the different combinations from MasterCard and Amex, Visa and MasterCard, and so on and so forth, and see what kind of reach that you could possibly have. And it's ordered from highest to lowest in terms of market share combination. So this will be very interesting to show if you want to add another or do some interesting things or thinking about adding your own company branded credit card. You can see whether or not it would be of any interest to your clients. The next one we have here is a pricing model. With your limited budget, you can simulate which options would best fit within your budgetary guidelines. I just made a pretty simple one here. I think I have two examples that we can go through. So if you have a budget of 100 and you only have a tolerance level, which is if you want to go over 100 by 5% or under 100 by 5%, you can set a tolerance level. And then the options that we have here below are the weight or the cost. The cost to have a Visa or MasterCard or Amex as part of the credit as part of the credit offerings that you have, you can simulate a price model and see, which one would fit your budget the best. And so you can see here that, based off of the data that we've received, and also with the budget that you are working with, that the MasterCard actually would work the best and fit within your estimated budget. And it'll just show you specifically what is the reach for each one of these if you were to go with that particular cost. Another one we have here, excuse me, is if we change the estimated budget. So we have 150 on top, and then we have a tolerance level, I believe I put it as 10, and then we've changed the weights. So instead of just doing a $100 cross, we've changed some of the pricing, because realistically we know that an Amex is usually costs quite a bit more money than some of the other credit card options that we have. So after simulating the price model, you can see below here that we have shown you the optimal configuration in the budget range, and you can notice that the MasterCard actually still will cover or still allow you for the best reach count, and then followed by the Amex and then others. So you can see that even if you were to change the pricing above, it'll still change the coverage and the cost. So it's a little bit different than what we have. So you can play around with the pricing model. And this is great, again, if you are working with a limited budget. The last one we have here is the line optimization. So if you're just interested in reaching at your minimums, so if you would just want to make sure that you hit at least a 50% minimum reach, and you don't know what features or what particular items to present to get that 50%, you can calculate this by using the line optimization tool. So all you have to do is put in 50% as your minimum, and then you can also set up your weight and your costs. I just kept it at 100 all the way through, and then run your line optimization. And you can see here again, if you want to have a 50% minimum reach, and then the options that we offer here, you can see that you need in order to reach that would be at least your MasterCard followed by the Amex. And here's another thing too that you can look at, a second example. If you decided you wanted to go with an 80% market share reach, you'd have to be able to present people with 3 credit card options to go with. And so you can see that the coverage is met, how much it's going to cost you, and then based off of the number of people that have taken your survey, this is the reach count. So that kind of will give you a good idea of what kind of combinations you would need to do if you would like to increase your market share. And so, oops, let me just kind of go out of here again. I just wanted to see, we have just a little bit more time. And so again, I just wanted to jump into our tool. So again, here's the reports. Turf analysis is here under online tools. And again, you can just quickly run your analysis. And with all the analysis that you have, you can download and review it and be able to see a little bit more, and then also include additional data sets if needed. So if you want to segment it out, include weights with your calculation, you can quickly run these things and decide, what you'd like to do in terms of your combinations available. So it's really quite simple. And so this is just a very brief overview of what we offer. So in terms of being able to do a turf analysis on top of the reviewing just the real-time summary results, you can see many great opportunities to review different combinations or features or product lists that you can possibly test to see without even putting it out, to see how this might possibly do in that particular segment or for your client base. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this back. I believe that is just all we have for the sample or example side. So Andrew, do you have anything you'd like to add with that? Hello? Sorry.
Sorry, I was on mute. Let's see if there's any questions and see if we can help anyone.
Okay, great. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions about the tool, feel free to go ahead and post those. You can post them in the question box or the chat box, and we can go ahead and answer your questions now. The thing I like about the TURF tool that we have is that it's actually very, very easy. A lot of people don't really know much about it, and they feel like, oh, it's mainly for media research, but really you can actually use it for many different things when it comes to product development or service development or um, you know budgets or increasing market share or segmentation analysis. This can be a great tool to include on top of the type of research that you're currently doing right now. So it's something that we really want to push and encourage people to use, as it is a part of your current license that you have with us. Let's see. It doesn't appear that anyone has any questions. Oh, looks like we might have one. Let's see. Okay. Nope. So it looks like we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up for today. So if anyone does have questions after this, here's our information. You can go ahead and email me or Andrew directly, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you would have. Once again, if you are interested and don't have uh, an account, you can always contact us and we can get you set up with an evaluation license. You can test out the turf analysis for free. It is available again on both Survey Analytics and Question Pro. So if you have an account on either one, you can start it right away. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this presentation. Andrew, do you have any last words or anything?
No, I would encourage people to give it a try, though. It won't cost you anything, and it can reveal some real insights into data. One thing you can do, which we didn't mention, is you can import your existing data into Survey Analytics and run a turf analysis. So if you've got data that you want to run, that's the facility there, and that is available with the free trial account.
Sounds great. Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us today for our presentation. And again, the blog will have the slides and the presentation recorded on there, available this afternoon. Thank you,
Okay,
everybody.
thanks everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.